Bon dia a tothom.
I would like to begin by thanking Pau and Raúl for inviting me to this seminar. And I'd like to say hello to the project leader, who's a good friend. Thank you for the invitation. I'd also like to greet my colleagues from the different partners. Very briefly, in approximately 10-12 minutes, I'm going to try and explain in 3 stages what I am talking about. That's Agenda 21. And secondly, what is our approach to the debate between culture and sustainable development, or to put it better, the relationship between culture and sustainable development. And third, I'm going to introduce some elements that are related to what Pau Rosell explained about the institutional role in policies. The Cultural Agenda 21, Culture 21, was drawn up by people who were very close to local governments and were concerned about the lack of a document that established the basis, the clear basis explaining what it means nowadays to implement cultural policy. At other levels of public intervention, they had access to this type of document, for example, in environment or in certain social policies. But in the case of culture, this document was non-existent. The idea emerged in Porto Alegre at a meeting very similar to this meeting today. Cultural activists, people from university, people who were responsible for culture in governments in Latin America and other countries. And so what we eventually reached was a document, a declaration on culture that could be used by local governments in their territorial policies. After 5 draft versions, the final version was submitted in Barcelona, and the proponents of this document sent the document to the World Organization of Cities. It's a long declaration with 66 articles, and basically it focuses on 5 issues: the cultural issues, the relationship between culture and governance, economic growth and culture, territory, sustainability, and so on. There are 2 additional documents. There is a handbook, and there is also a document on indicators. So over these years, since the year 2004, and with the support of the World Organization of Cities, the document has been translated to 19 languages, including Persian, Arabic. We have tried to relate and link Agenda 21 to other scopes and other fields relating to culture. And basically, we have reached out to 450 organizations. We have worked with countries in the Mediterranean, in Latin America, in Africa. A forum has been created, a network in France. There are 2 national networks being formed in Mexico and Brazil, and we have advocated that UNESCO should understand that the Convention on the Protection and Promotion of Cultural Expression is impossible without involving local governments. And so now we have an advocacy task in Rio de Janeiro in June this year. What is important is that this is not a theoretical work. We have an empirical response, we have complicity, and we have a good response, good alignment in cities throughout the world. It doesn't matter whether the cities are richer or poorer, whether they have a better or less well-structured cultural structure. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about Perm in Russia or Montreal in Canada. The national government in Quebec has drawn up an Agenda 21, and so our work is to relate what is happening in cities, what local authorities see as needs, and what has to be included in their cultural policies with the content of the major debates that are taking place on culture, and in keeping with guidelines from UNESCO. So that's the first part of my presentation, and I'm going to try and focus on the debate or the relationship between culture and sustainable development.